Men only become good men through negativity. Women are actually the opposite. Men who have been through a lot of pain are very kind. When I see a man who's been through a lot of shit, it makes you kinder. You don't want it to be put on anyone else. When women go through a lot of pain, they grow bitter and evil and mean. They don't grow kind. Men grow kind from pain. The worst men on earth are the ones who haven't had enough pain. Those are the arrogant pieces of shit people. You're supposed to suffer as a man. You're born to suffer. You're not supposed to get rich off a fucking stupid meme coin like that without doing any work. You're supposed to suffer. The whole reason God put men on this planet is to suffer. And the best men are the ones who suffered the most. I wouldn't be top G if I didn't suffer more than anyone else. You're a better man than everyone else if your life was a mess and it was a hardship. Because you're not what happens to you, you are how you react to it. And the best men on earth are men who have had their parents die, their best friends betray them, their girl betray them, thrown in jail, their money stolen, stabbed, robbed. And every time something happened to them, they sat there and they looked in the mirror and said, what can I learn from this? How can I stop this happening? Those are the best men. Those are the men respect. Those are the men women want. Why do women love scars? Look, they tried to kill him and they can't. That's why I want him. The best men suffered. You find a man who's never been through suffering and nobody gives a shit about him. Men don't like him and women don't like him. Men are no good without it. Lots of people are going through the world trying to get experiences, but they're so obsessed with getting the positive experiences that they never really experience life at all. People go through life and they say, I want to make money on a crypto coin, and I want to get rich, and I want to buy a Lamborghini, and then I want to get a beautiful girlfriend, I want to go on a boat in Miami, and all this positive, but there's no light without dark. You could do all of those things and you'd still be miserable if you didn't experience the dark. If you have not experienced true misery and pain, you'll never ever be happy. So if you're going through life as a man and you're looking for experiences over comfort, which is what you should be doing, which is what the great explorers of the world have always done, because they weren't looking for comfort. Comfort's at home. Experiences out there. All the sailors, all the warriors, they were looking for experiences. I love the negative experiences along with the positive experiences. I love jail because it's an experience. Is it a bad experience? Sure. But then my bedroom is beautiful once again, like it's never been before.
How was that first sleep back?
This is the point. Everyone's obsessed with the positive experiences, but nobody is chasing any kind of negative experience. I believe every man should be choosing to do something which is extremely hard, which they hate, which sucks, because you don't appreciate life at all without it. The reason people chase higher highs all the time, and the reason they're constantly taking drugs and trying to new pussy and drink more alcohol and chasing higher highs all the time, is because they don't experience any lows. You always want a higher high, but I promise you, the high you're at is fine if you balance it with a little bit of low. If you bounce down there for a week and come back to where you were, you're good. Constantly chasing higher highs is hedonism, which ends in one place. It always ends in a spiral, a downward spiral. You need to stay away from constantly chasing those things. You need to artificially manufacture some lows. I chose fighting because fighting will do that for you. It's hard, it's stressful, you're worried, you train all the time, you're exhausted, you win, you lose, you get hurt, you go hospital. There's a lot of negatives in it. There's not enough negatives in men's lives today. It's amazing how the human mind adapts to its surroundings. In some ways it's stressful, but there's no light without dark. In other ways, it's not very stressful.
As a man, there is no easy life. If you're looking for an easy life, you should have been a girl. You made a mistake.
Yep.
Your life is not about being easy. Your life is not about being happy. Your life is always going to be difficult. All of the pain you feel, all of the sadness you feel, you're supposed to feel as a man, and you have two effective binary choices. You either go through the suffering and go through the trauma and go through the hardship it takes to be a man of value, or you suffer eternity as a nobody. And being invisible, I would argue, is almost worse. You can have a very stress-free life if you work in Starbucks. You don't care about the Starbucks once you clock off. You're not at work at the time. You go home, you play video games, and you exist until you die. That's stress-free, but you have to suffer being a nobody. Alternatively, you can go out there into the world, try and implement your mark on the world, work hard, try to get rich, more money, more problems. You can try and start a business, the stress of that. You can lose your girlfriend because all you're doing is working. This is a new level of stress, a new level of trauma, but at least you'll be a somebody at the end of it. There's two ways to suffer. You either suffer to become a somebody, or you suffer as a perpetual and forever nobody. What did Napoleon say?
He said, glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever.
Absolutely. Glory is fleeting, but obscurity is forever. And when he says fleeting, that's a really good point, because everything in life is rented, especially your glory as a man. When you have a good body, it is not a good body as complete. It's not finished. You haven't completed the task. You have rented that good physical condition. You must train every day to retain it.
I think God wants me to be the best possible version of myself. I think that God dislikes people who are lazy. I said this to somebody once and he got very offended. I said, God doesn't like lazy people. God has created you and he wants to see the absolute best you can be. I think that if you don't take care of yourself, God has no interest in taking care of you. If you have a Ferrari on the drive and you don't take care of it, who's going to take care of it? Nobody. I think that taking care of yourself and being the best possible version of yourself you can be is how you please God. I think that's one of the best ways to praise Him, is to wake up every day and say, I need to be the strongest, smartest, fastest, most fearsome, most stoic, most capable man I can possibly be. This is how I please God. I think that as a man, there's always going to be a degree of pain and suffering in your journey. I don't think you're ever going to become a successful man or be good at being a man without pain and suffering. And as many times in my life where something terrible happened to me, and at the time, if I could change it, I would have. But retrospectively, you kind of look back and go, you know what, that was formulative for me.
That's right.
That is what God decided I needed to become who I became. So all of the pain and all the suffering I've ever gone through in my life ended up, in the end, building me into the person I am, and I'm proud of who I am. I don't think many men especially understand that even if you don't have the strength to be a hero for yourself, you should have enough discipline and enough honor to want to be a hero for somebody else. And if you have other people you truly respect, you should want to be a hero for them. And I think that's the masculine imperative. If someone's going to attack your wife, that's when you become a hero for her. You have to. What kind of man are you if you're not? You have a brain, you have a mind, you have a mental model. You can't think of everything, you can't do everything. You can only have certain frameworks instilled inside of your mind. As a man, you should be hyper-competitive. You should try and be the best version of yourself you can be. You're competing against every other man on earth for the girl you want, the car you want, the house you want, the watch you wear. It's all competition. You should be as competitive as you possibly can. Anything that's inside of your mind which doesn't allow you to be competitive should be erased. So I started at the absolute lowest echelon of life, and I would like to consider myself somewhere near the top now. I've been through absolutely every stage. So when I say to men, you can become anything you want, and my answer to you is masculine excellence, there's no other answer. I can't tell you how to rig the game and cheat the game. If we're all racing a race and I have a Ferrari and you have a Nissan, I mean, sure, you can get a bit better at driving, but you're probably going to lose. You have to get a better character to play this game of life. So that's why I preach masculine excellence, because for many of the world's problems today, porn, sexual access, being respected by your peers, making sure that your wife's going to stay with you after the children are born for a very long time,
That's right.
Being happy, anything, it all comes down to who you are as a man. The only answer is masculine excellence. There's nothing you can do besides hard work, accept the trauma and pain and suffering, and work harder than everyone else around you worked. We have a men's mental health crisis. Young men are disenfranchised. The suicide rate amongst men is much higher than women, and everybody pretends to care. But when I come along and say, I am a man, I've been a man, I know how it feels to be a sad man and a happy man, and I found happiness through masculine achievement and strength, through working hard in the gym, through dedicating myself, through building a life worth living, through taking care of the people who I love, both male and female, through becoming financially successful, through sticking up for myself, through having opinions, through being a man of honor and courage. When I do these things, I'm ostracized, and they're attempting to destroy my life.
I talk about this all the time. People say I've had a traumatic life. I say, well, then you're very, very fortunate. You had a traumatic life. Now, you may have misused that trauma. You may have misplaced it. You may have accepted the matrix telling you that you now have an excuse to fail, as opposed to using it to grow. But every single man of value went through trauma, and they went through pain. It's going to be painful to get strong, painful to get rich, painful to become important. It's going to be painful to become good with women. Your heart's going to get broken a bunch of times. You have to be prepared for the pain. If you're not ready for pain, you're never going to be anything that matters.
I think that the number one problem with the world today, and the biggest problem that men face, isn't the problems themselves. It's just the way that they are been taught to mentally frame issues. People think when bad things happen to them that somehow they're a victim to the universe and bad things only happen to me and this is so terrible. They don't understand that bad things happen to everybody, and the most successful person you know had all those, probably maybe even worse, at least the same bad things happened to them. They just framed it differently and used it.
And this is what people really don't yet understand. There's only one thing on the planet you actually have control over. You can't control the weather. You can't control your health. You can get a brain aneurysm or a heart attack. You can't control other people. The only thing you can actually really truly control is what you think. That's the only thing you can change in real time. You can be thinking of red and change it to blue. So why are you not controlling your own mind? It's your asset. It's your ally. It's your friend. Why would you make an enemy out of the only thing you have control over? I refuse to do that. It doesn't make sense to me. The worst thing on earth that could happen to a man could happen to me. And I guarantee you, I would still label myself happy. I'm happy because that's who I am. That's how I view myself. That's what I've decided.
It's amazing how much strength you can get from knowing that your ancestors are looking down on you and you're doing your absolute best. I also believe that God can be proud of you when you do your absolute best. And I don't think many people genuinely do their best in the world anymore. When I say do your best, people sit and go, oh yeah, okay. No, when's the last time you actually did your best? Like, I don't train to run marathons, but I know if I gave my best, I could run a marathon right now, first try. If I gave my best, life depending on it. When's the last time people have genuinely given their best to anything? There are people going through the world and going through life today that don't give their best or 100% effort to anything ever. Ever. They can't remember the last time they tried. I think it's very difficult to do nearly anything important if it's not, perhaps to a degree, driven by love or the desire for love even. I think the reason a lot of men want to become rich is because they want to feel loved or feel important or to matter. Mm-hmm. I also feel like the reason that a lot of men do the things they do is for love, either of themselves or of someone else. I think the reason men go to work is because they love their family. The reason you go to the gym is because you love yourself.
If you take a man and give him a life shielded from problems that he never has any to face, I guarantee you he's terrible at being a man. The best men in the world have gone through shit. That's why women love scars, because it didn't kill you. That's the whole point of it, right? So the best thing you can do as a man is look and go, okay, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard, this is hard. I feel negative because these are all so difficult. I'm struggling with X, Y, Z. Let me internalize all of that and turn it into a superpower. Let me become genuinely uncomfortable with my situation in life and go and fix things. Because, like I said, the universe is absolutely and utterly very giving. And if you truly hated being in the position you were in, you wouldn't be there very long.
When men say to me they're depressed, with unlimited options, with the capability to become anything you desire, with God giving you a full and able body and mind, how do you have time to be depressed? Mm-hmm. You have so much you could do. There's so much that you need to do to be your best self. And you're competing against men like me, and you're finding hours a day to be sad? Mm-hmm. No wonder you're going to perpetually lose forever. Right. That's suicide. So how do you find time to do this? Mm-hmm. It's brutally ineffective.
If you construct a mindset that allows you to be as competent as possible, as opposed to feel any different or feel better, then you're going to naturally come to the conclusions I've come to. You're as competent as possible if you believe you can affect absolutely everything about your life. You're as competent as possible if you believe absolutely everything that's happened to you, whether good or bad, is completely your fault. You're as competent as possible if you believe the bad things that happen to you are going to allow you to work harder and become even better. When bad things happen to me, the first thing out of my mouth is good. Good.
If any man's honest with himself, think about the biggest transformative stages in your life. Think about the times you got the most work done. It was a bad part of your life. You were heartbroken, or, you lost a house, or broke, or whatever. That's when you did shit.
There is a huge percentage of the populace which they're beyond saving because they're the worst thing you can possibly be, which is a quitter. Being a quitter is the worst thing you can possibly be. God himself can't make a quitter important, because the only reason the place you're trying to get to has value is because it was difficult to reach. If everybody could reach it, there'd be no value. Value is linked to scarcity. The whole point gold is valuable is because it's not everywhere. If it was everywhere, it wouldn't have any value. The reason the place you're trying to reach is valuable is because people can't get there. So if you're the kind of person who quits, you're never going to get there. Quitters are the worst.
And the masculine world is hyper competitive. This is another thing most people don't understand.
Totally agree.
It's hyper competitive out here. All the women want a few men at the top. The Ferrari, you don't want a Ferrari to drive fast. You want a Ferrari because other men want a Ferrari and can't have one. It's hyper competitive. So if you're competing against every other man for every dollar you make, every girl you see, the house you live in, the car you drive, the life you live, you're not going to be able to compete with the person who performs regardless of how they feel if you only compete when you feel like competing. And if life is perfect all the time, you don't appreciate anything. I actually think one of the worst lives you can have is a life where everything goes right all of the time. If you're spoiled to that degree, especially as a man, as soon as you reach any kind of difficulty, you're going to crumble. So I've had to get up a bunch of times, and I do not pray for an easy life. I pray for a difficult life with difficult challenges to solve and being strong enough to handle them. I've never tried to make my life easier. In fact, quite the opposite. If you really want an exceptional life and to do exceptional things, you can't only hope for the positive exceptional.
The only reason you appreciate being rich is because you were poor. If you were born rich, you don't appreciate it. The only reason you appreciate being in good health is because you were once sick. When you're sick, you'll do anything to be healthy. If you've never experienced sickness, you don't know what health is.
There is no light without dark. Perhaps I'll be a happier person and live a more fulfilled life and enjoy my fantastic benefits that come with wealth if I do go. Perhaps I can have a more positive message and more people will know my name if I do go, Matt. Perhaps I'm ready to martyr myself. Perhaps I am ready to charge at the gunfire. Perhaps I don't care.
There's a lot of people who complain about the bad things that happen in their life, not understanding that without the bad things, you'd have no life at all. You need all of the bad things. You need the mental struggle. You need to go through things which you regret. You need to sit there so that if you've never regretted any action you've ever taken, how can you sit and make a intelligent decision for the future? You can't do it. Yeah. You need to sit and say, well, I felt the sting of regret for X. I don't want to feel the sting of regret for Y. You need this experience. And that's what life is all about. People think that life is just the good times. And this is the massive misconception. Love is a perfect example. Let's use love. Because people think being in love is holding hands and I hold hands and we cuddle in bed. I love them. Love is the whole spectrum. Love is missing them. Love is breaking up with them. Love is being sad they don't text you. Love is the whole circle. There's no up without down. Anything that has the ability to emotionally affect you positively has the ability to emotionally affect you negatively. There's nothing in the world that can only affect you in one direction. Even something as asinine and stupid as an object. Life as a man is pretty shit, and you're gonna feel shit for a pretty large percentage of the time. But you're only gonna ever escape that if you just perform regardless. You have to perform when you feel bad. As a man, you can't say, I will perform when I feel good. It doesn't work that way because our heads are too complicated and life's too complicated. There's too much on our shoulders and we have too much stress and too much pressure. Our heads are fucked. You have to be the kind of person who says, I perform regardless. I didn't miss a single day's training. I didn't miss a please. I didn't miss a thank you. I'm not saying I was happy. I'm saying I did exactly what I was supposed to do.
If you want to be the most competitive predator on the planet, you have to be able to hunt in the day and the night. You have to be able to do both. You have to be able to perform when you're happy and sad. You can't only be able to perform when you're happy. You can't only go to the gym when you're motivated. You can't only be a competent person when your life's going well, because when your life's not going well, you're no longer competent. Then you're going to lose to people like me. And it's player versus player. If you're the kind of person who can only do well when you're happy and you're competing against someone like me who can do well all the fucking time, guess what? You lose. So my mental model, the answer is most of my opinions are just based around constructing a mental model that allows me to be brutally competitive.
Things happen to people and things are going to happen to everyone. And even if you live the perfect life, you're still going to have bad experiences because everything's relative. So small things are going to be big. And you have to learn to get on with it and be disciplined. And if you don't have a disciplined upbringing, you don't learn to go through hard times, you're just going to end up one of those people who just is a complete feather in the wind. You just succumb to your emotions. And that makes you either a pussy or, as a man, also makes you dangerous. These people, these serial killers and these school shooters and all these things, these are people who just give in on their emotions instantly. These are people with no self-control.
They never had fathers around.
They never had fathers around.
99% of them in America, they're from a single mother kind of type home or some shit, no father around.
And they never had anyone sit and say to them, I don't care how you feel, you're not allowed to act that way. And that's it. So when they feel a certain way, they think, well, I'm gonna act this way then. And that's what's dangerous. This is also why I became successful in the first place, because I've always been capable of fighting and going through pain and dedicating myself and doing difficult things and having hard things happen to me and being emotionally regulated. So perhaps what's so interesting about it is, even if I want the dark, no matter how deep I dive into it, no matter how much mess I try and get myself in, I'm just going to end up springing back and having more fans and more followers and more people talking about me and more social media.
Bro, it's the emotional regulation that I'm worried about. I'm like, how the hell does this guy do it?
Well,
how do you manage that?
For me, it's relatively easy
because it's a new dark again.
It is, but that's part of I'm looking for the journey. I don't want the comfort. I want the challenge. I'm looking for the journey. So no matter what bad is happening to me, part of me is always going to sit there and detach myself from myself and analyze it from the third person and say, wow, fantastic. This is going to be a great opportunity for you. It's a great opportunity for you to prove yourself to yourself and prove yourself to everybody else and prove yourself to God. Feeling depressed is real. Depression as a disease, I do not subscribe to. The idea, I believe, that if you feel depressed, something is depressing you, and you should try your best to fix it. You should take control of your life and do your best to fix it. The idea, but they don't say that. They don't talk that. They say depression like it's this magic thing that comes out the sky and it gets in your brain, you're sad no matter what, and there's nothing you can do about it, and you need to only take pills. And I think that's a very bad way to look at the world, and that's a bad idea to subscribe to. And if you start to feel depressed, let's say your girl leaves you and you start to feel depressed, but you believe in the idea of depression, you're now going to start diagnosing yourself as clinically depressed, self-hypnosing yourself into hypnotizing yourself into being clinically depressed. And it's amazing how you can speak things into existence. I cannot become depressed.
because I don't believe in it.
So how about chemical imbalances in the brain?
Bullshit. That's all been disproved anyway.
Really?
It's all been disproved. Firstly, that's all been disproved. And secondly, even if that was true, even if I had a chemical imbalance in my brain, I do not believe in depression. Next time you see a rich guy, go up to him and say, how'd you get rich? I've never heard anyone say university. Ever! I've never heard anyone say it's a lie. It's a scam. When I was 16, I saw the guy in the Ferrari. I was like, I'm going to college and he isn't. And he ain't going to work. He knows something I don't know. I knew at 16 everything they tell me was a lie. But there's still people who think they have 5 years to waste in college. 5 years. I'm 37. Let's conservatively estimate I make for myself $250,000 today, let's say. 5 years ago, I was probably making 20 grand. That's the difference 5 years can make. 5 years. And they're going to sit there and do what? Read a book from 22 years ago? Go party? Oh, fraternity. Bro, competence is confidence. I think they go hand in hand. You're going to be confident in doing things you're good at. And I understood I had to get good at things from a very young age. And I was challenged from a very young age to constantly test myself in endless competition. My whole life has been competition.
Correct.
It was chess tournaments from a very young age.
Yeah.
And then it was professional fighting. My whole life's been a massive competition.
Right.
And I understood that there's winners and losers. And that's how the world operates. To this day, right now, it's the same thing. And you just get good at the idea of competition. I think there's a lot of people out here who don't realize they're in a fight. Or they know they're in a fight, but they want to ignore the fact they're in a fight because they don't want to have to accept that they're losing. So they wake up and say, oh, I'm just a man living life.
Bro, they're too comfortable.
They're too comfortable.
Yeah, mental health and depression is an interesting one because, like, you look at Tyson Fury, right? How can you not respect the heavyweight champ? Gypsy King, G, right? And he was talking about how he was depressed and how he fought his way out of it and everything. Huge respect for the guy. He was depressed, and the only way he fought and beat his depression was one day he got up, grabbed himself by the bootstraps, got in the gym, became the champ again, brought himself back to the former champion he was. Mm-hmm. He did it himself, right? And I think that that's really the only way any of these things can be beaten. I think if I were to talk to Tyson or Tyson were to talk to anybody, he'd say the same thing. He'd say, look, end of the day, even if you're struggling, it's you that's going to have to get up and get the work done and change your life. I think that a lot of the help, which is being purported now by the system, by the Matrix, isn't designed to help. I think it's designed to keep people in this state of depression because when you're depressed, you're submissive. You don't care about what happens to you if you're depressed. Depressed people aren't going to riot against a new law or against COVID tyranny because they're depressed. They're too busy. They're at home and they're sad. The best option, the best thing to do is still to get up, be an adult, control your emotions, be stoic, and do the things you're supposed to do day after day. Laying in bed and doing nothing is never going to be the best option. The best option is still to go to the gym, to work hard, to run your business, to be successful. So it doesn't matter. We're talking about the different positions on the chessboard. But if the rules of the game remain the same, regardless of the position you're still trying to win, you still have to do the same things. So does it even matter at this point? If you come along and say he's depressed because of X and he's depressed because of Y and he's depressed because of Z, and the answer to all of them is still the same thing, then I don't give a fuck why you're depressed. All I know, what I will say as a matter of fact, is this world is hyper competitive, especially as a man.
How do you think men can build more confidence in like deciding their life instead of just letting it be decided for them?
Yeah, so they have to take absolute responsibility, which is the first thing. The second thing, they have to get competence, and competence is going to allow you to have confidence. You're not going to be good at shit if you're bad at shit. You have to be good at things. You're only going to be confident at things if you're good at things. I know what I'm good at and what I'm bad at. So you have to go out there and take risks, and you have to make mistakes, and you have to risk it all. And once again, this comes down to competition. I think competition is such an important thing in the masculine world. Yeah. I grew up in the chess world, and I went into the fighting world. It was all extremely competitive. It's competition driven. You can't make excuses. If I sit here and say I lost a fight, cool, you lost a fight. But I lost a fight, but my gloves, when they were wrapped up, my hand was hurting, and then
excuses.
Bro, you lost, G. Like, no one gives a fuck. Like, you have to understand that excuses don't matter. Nobody cares. Life's binary. Winners or losers. And you just have to take absolute responsibility for all of it.
I was walking to college with a couple of my friends, and a Ferrari drove past. And I said, bro, you see that? And he goes, yeah, what about it? I said, doesn't that piss you off? I must be about 16. He goes, why? So this dude has 400 G's for a car, 400 grand. I'm walking 4 miles to college because my mom hasn't got any car. He has 400 grand. Do you think he works a job? Do you think he's fucking behind a counter somewhere? He knows something about the world that I don't know.
Yeah.
And they were like, well, he's rich. I'm like, yeah, I know. I didn't say he wasn't rich, dummy. I'm saying he knows something about the world I don't know. And I was intrigued and it angered me. I couldn't sleep for weeks. I was pissed off. Every time I saw somebody with genuine money, I understood that everything I was being told and taught and they were trying to make me believe just simply wasn't true. I was like, this is bullshit. None of these people are getting these things by following the path that the system is trying to make me follow. Nobody, and everybody intrinsically knows this. If you go to if you're at BP, you're at a petrol station, and I pull up in my Lamborghini, nobody goes, wow, he went to school. He studied hard.
It's over 10% into the year now. I wonder if anyone who made a New Year's resolution sits and says, it's over 10% into the year. Am I at 10% of my goal? Because your stupid ass said you were going to be a millionaire when you were drunk on New Year's Eve. Well, you need to have 100 grand saved. Do you have 100,000? Have you even done the feedback on your own goal you made 30 short days ago to realize that you're nowhere near it and you're not going to make it and you're a loser? No. Oh, I got the rest of the year. And then wonder why they fail. You should have a daily target.
And then it's just a full-on cycle for them, yearly.
Of course.
Going to be a millionaire next year. And then,
and then they just lie.
Yeah.
So you need to constantly feedback and analyze your life and take time out of scenarios. I do this all the time. There's been times I've got up out of bed and I've got ready and I've got my keys and I've got my phone and I've stroked my dog and I've had my coffee. I downed it quickly and it was just the right temperature so it wasn't too hot and it wasn't too cold. And I got in my car, which had already been started my Ferrari by my security team, and it was already warm, and I got in and I was out the door. I was like, I'll go out the door in 6 minutes. That's like 2 minutes faster than normal. Yeah, that was good. What did I do good? Well, the coffee. The coffee wasn't too hot, wasn't too cold. Usually it's too hot and I have to wait. Or it's too cold and I want another one. The coffee was just the right temperature. When was it made? And I'll check the message where I sent them to make me a coffee. And it sounds crazy, but I'll analyze how I left the fucking house while I'm driving. I'll be like, that was fast. That was good.
Why do some men do what they do? Why did Elon decide to put rockets in space instead of just retire? He was rich after PayPal. Why?
Yeah, that's fair.
Why did Alexander the Great need all that land? Why did men go to the Antarctic to try and cross the icy, barren, empty plains and freeze to death to just be the first men who did it? Why do that? You can't even put it on Facebook back then. Who gives a shit? Some men are built different, sir. Some men want to do it because it hasn't been done. And that is the reason why. They do not need much more motivation than the fact they will be first. There isn't much motivation to get on a rocket and be the first man on the moon, because the probability is you're going to die or get stuck up there and never make it back. Or even if you do go and you do come back, half the people on Earth won't believe you went at all. So why would you do that unless you're just that kind of guy?
Feminists sit and complain about men and say, well, men have this, men have that. But they're talking about 2% of men.
Fascinating.
They don't talk about all men. They say men have the best jobs. 2% of men have the best jobs. Most men carry trash. So you're talking crap. So everyone accepts that the best possible human experience that exists is the top 2% of men. Anything below that sucks as a man. You're better off being a chick. So what I say to men is, look, life's hard. It's always going to be hard. It's always going to suck. It always has. The only way to get out is to become excellent and perform at a level where your echelon is so high that you get to live this brand new experience. You need to become strong and smart and interesting and charismatic. You need to become rich, powerful, well-known, connected. You need to do it.
But can all men do that?
No.
So, okay.
But I have to tell them the truth. When people come along to me and say, my life's shit, and I look at them and go, yes. People are genuinely not out here giving their absolute best, because if you were, you'd have everything you've ever desired. You'd have anything you've ever wanted and asked for. Instead, what people do is they cope and convince themselves they're trying. Oh, I tried, but I need a work-life balance, and it's hard, and I was trying. All garbage, all cope. And like I said earlier, life is war. If you're a man and you don't view the world as war, I can't imagine how you view the world. My entire worldview is war. I was actually having this conversation the other day about why I avoid extreme sports. This was some girl. She's like, would you ever jump out of a plane with me? I'm like, bitch, no.
Why do you avoid extreme sports?
Well, because my life is extreme. But my life is hard. I'm at war. If your life is extreme and you're already at war, last thing you want to do is jump out of a plane. You want it safety, calm. I want to be left alone.
The only thing a woman can give me back at my status in life is absolute devotion to protect my spirit. I need a woman who loves me completely and utterly. I don't expect her to have financial incentive to look after me. I don't expect her to be physically capable of dealing with my problems. I don't expect her to be my problems are very complex. I don't expect her to be sitting there on a computer trying to work them out. I expect her to sit there and go, I love you so much. I'm just worried about you and I just care about you.
Everything's about love.
It's all about love.
What if-
Now, that's what I want, because that's a fair exchange. I can take a woman all around the world, spend a bunch of money on her. I can be top G, spend all this money, give her a life she could never see. If I am truly the center of her universe, she is giving me value back. And that's why I'm not going to go out here and fuck bitches who barely care about me or just vamoose a bitch in a club for a one night, because she's winning. It's like throwing money down the drain.
What if Kim Kardashian slides in your DMs and says, "Hey, Tate, I want a piece of that"? How are you responding?
I'm kind of careful about talking about celebrities
He's
now
trying to get the
because
TikTok
I end
right
up
there.
meeting them all. A woman's job is, in my view, the women who mean the most to me are the women who truly protect my spirit by just loving me and caring about me and using their intuition to truly want the absolute best for me.
Do you feel like your stress comes from holding on to what you hold dear, that pride aspect of things? Like, I got to be top G. Nobody's top G. I'm top G.
You know where I actually think it comes from? I actually think it comes from because I know I've only reached 10% of what I can actually do.
Let's go, bro.
And that bothers me. And no matter how much money I'm making or how most Googled man alive, whatever, I can still identify the inefficiencies in my systems. I can still identify where more money could have been made. And money isn't that important, but like we said, money is a very simple way to measure success because it's numbers. Numbers are easy.
Yeah.
This number, that number. It's easy. What does a company do when it wants to measure the success of a company? It looks at the numbers. What does a YouTube channel do? It looks at the numbers. Numbers are easy. So if you're going to say, how do I be successful in life? Money's not everything, but it's a nice, easy way to measure because it's numbers. And then when you understand it's the time and energy of other people, you sit and go, okay, well, I have this large empire now, and I have all these people who work for me, and all these people I love, and all these people I care about, and all these children, and all this going on, and the world is getting more and more messed up, and everything's on a decline, and everything's being destroyed, and a certain number of people are going to become useless eaters, are going to be eradicated, and they're going to try and lock us all in our 15-minute cities for the climate or some garbage. That's coming in no time. How do I combat and fight all of this and protect all the people I care about? Well, I need the time and energy of others. I need an army, so I need money. It's not practice, it's feedback. If you don't analyze what you've done, then you're not going to identify your mistakes and where you can improve. I will watch this podcast back 10 times and I will realize all the times I stuttered or all the times I had to repeat myself or all the times I didn't use a word I was supposed to use. And that's why next time I do a podcast, it'll be better than even before. And that's also a lesson you can take and apply towards life. You can apply the feedback aspect towards life. Practice alone will not improve you. Practice is going to build habits. In fact, from fighting, I know this very well. If you allow a student to come and learn bad habits at the beginning, it's very hard to get out of them. This is why most people, when they talk on podcasts, are saying, I can't even listen to that shit. I'm like, you don't even speak English? Why are you sitting there? You don't speak English?
Why it's so hard to get your point across?
Well, if you can't get your point across compendiously and you can't articulate yourself in a concise manner, how do you expect other people to affiliate with your worldview? I've never met anybody who is in fantastic shape, and you say, how'd you get in fantastic shape? And he goes, oops. Dunno, bro. Just oops. No, absolutely not. I went to the gym every day. I ate this particular way. I had a meal plan. I dieted. Nothing is going to happen on accident.
Yeah.
This mindset of when my ship comes in, one day it's just going to, well, you're going to win the lottery? Maybe. And that's another thing that's actually funny, talking about winning the lottery. I used to dream of winning the lottery, bro. How much is a lottery win nowadays?
It depends on the win. Could be anything.
6, 7? No, not Europe.
I don't know anything about the lottery because I think it sucks.
But man, like I used to dream of winning the lottery, thinking that my life would change. And now like 6, 7 million, that's a year of jets. It's nothing. Like it's not even money anymore. It's crazy how the perception changes.
But even if you win the lottery, 90% of lottery winners within 10 years are in the exact same situation.
Completely, because they think it's a lot of money. It's not even a lot of money. A couple of 6, 7 million pounds is zero in the real world. It's zero.
Some people really need a female in their life because they need that kind of stability and direction and motivation. I'm not that guy. I do not need a woman to tell me to go work. I do not need her to tell me to put the video games down. I do not need to be cooked for and mothered. Like, it's nice if she does, but I'll survive. I did all this myself. I'll be okay. Like, the menial tasks you complete, I can hire somebody to do. It's not a big deal. I absolutely believe in love. I believe in family. I believe having kids is an amazing thing. But does that mean I'm ever going to live the completely traditional, I'm at home, wife says come home? That's never going to happen. That's not who I am as a man. If I have a woman who I love with all my heart and we have children, I'm still going to be out till whenever the fuck I'm out. I might be gone for 2 weeks. I'm out. See ya. See you in 2 weeks. And if during those 2 weeks I meet a big booty cute, whatever. It is what it is. Doesn't mean I don't love my woman at home. Doesn't mean I'm not going to come back to her. But I'm just true to my instinct as a man. I don't think I should apologize for it. I think a lot of people are socially conditioned to apologize for things.
That's not me. Because everyone pretends they give a fuck, but nobody does. Especially women. And I don't get attacked for women, but women truly don't give a fuck. If you ask a woman the kind of man she wants, she will never say depressed or sad. Ever. She wants a man who is ultra capable, ultra competent. I've literally had women say to me, you know what I love being around you? I'm like, what? I don't have to think. I'm like, what do you mean? Because I just turn up and like, we just walk in the hotel and everyone, staff do anything we want and the jet's just on the runway and we just land and I'm in this beautiful place and I don't even know where I am and I get to just turn my brain off and it's great. Like, they want someone who is fun and spontaneous and charismatic and successful. They don't have time for sad dudes. They don't care. So the world doesn't care. The world has never given a shit about sad men. So if you're gonna sit there and self-diagnose yourself as a sad man, you're gonna have a shit life and nobody's ever gonna give a fuck and you're gonna perpetually lose forever. And that is your decision. I am so scared of being that person. The idea of that terrifies me to the point where I don't even want to accept that as a reality that can possibly exist. I don't give a shit what happens to me in my life. I don't care how bad it is. I don't care if the worst, most heinous things I could possibly imagine happen to me. I know that my sadness, my depression will be temporary because I will never stay a loser. It's against my creed. It's not in my DNA. Anything in the world that makes you happy that you currently have, whether it's a person, whether it's a job, whether it's a scenario, whatever it is, also has the exact inverse capability to make you extremely angry. So you have to accept this about
You're
life.
quite detached, man. You're quite detached from everything that you also own. You say you love it, but at the same time, you're okay with letting go.
Well, that's because I think I have confidence in myself to get it all back. And that's also because I have quite a lot of emotional control. And then perhaps, maybe I'm a little bit of a sadist, I don't know. But when bad things happen to me,
You love it.
I kind of enjoy it. And I think that maybe it's perhaps I just enjoy it for the story. Perhaps my whole life is not about trying to find comfort, it's trying to find challenges, and it's trying to find stories. I'll be very honest with you. Even in jail, my brother and I kept saying this is probably the best story, one of our best ever stories. That's what life is about to me. And if you were to say to me right now, Andrew, do you want to spend a year living in comfort and flying around the world and sleeping with girls and doing whatever, or do you want to spend a year in a jail in Mongolia? I'd probably choose the jail. I had real jobs and I did real things and I was really broke and I was really on the bus and really trying to pay rent and doing real stuff for a long time.
I wrote a line in here, and I think you could relate to it. A poor man is broke, a rich man is broken. So if you're broke, you could figure out a way to be rich. But if you were given everything and you don't know how to manage this life, you're broken and you don't feel like you've earned anything. I've met more depressed rich men than I've met depressed broke men.
It's amazing you say that because there's two answers to that. My first one is, I love that you say that because I always say I'm not rich. I'm a poor man with a lot of money. I always used to say that. And I don't want to brag or anything, but just because I get asked this question a lot. I've been extremely successful. I have hundreds of millions of dollars. In fact, I think our last valuation across everything we own we're almost at B now. So we're doing very, very, I'm a billionaire. Top G's a billionaire. So we're doing extremely well. That's the first thing. The second thing, it's great that you say that because I completely agree. Because if you're born with everything, if you're born with all this money, that you have no aspiration, nothing to actually grasp onto and trying to achieve, then money doesn't make you happy. Chess teaches you that if you lose, at some point you made a mistake. It doesn't matter if it's the smallest mistake. It doesn't matter if you just took too long to think to make the right move and you ran out of time on the clock. At some point you fucked up for you to lose that game. It's 100% accountability with no luck. That's what's so important about learning chess. That's the first thing. And the second thing is, you need to, as a man, adopt the mindset that absolutely everything that happens to you is completely and utterly your fault, whether it's good or bad. And most men don't have that. Most men don't have that. When the Matrix was attacking me and they were destroying me, when they're calling up my exes trying to get fake fucking charges on me and put me in jail, when they closed my bank accounts and I used $10, $11 million, when they banned me across all social medias and lie about me, when they harassed my family, I'm sitting there going, this is my fault. All of this is me. I got here. It's my fault. I'm not going, that was unfair. It was orchestrated. The NGOs worked against me. Because that is not helpful.
So it's accountability.
It's 100% accountability in all things. But also when I go out there and I start the Bugatti, it's like, that's me. This is my fault. The car is my fault, and the big house is my fault, and everything that ever goes wrong is my fault.
And failures.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to take complete and utter accountability for everything. They try and convince you, don't worry if you're being a loser, because people feel sorry for you, and you'll get attention for it, and you'll be okay in the end. And it's all this temporary fixes of dopamine by saying, I'm sad. Don't worry, bro, you'll be okay. But it's bullshit. They don't care long term. The world doesn't care. Nobody really cares. Chicks don't care. Business doesn't care. You are going to fail.
It even happens in schools now, doesn't it? Everyone gets a prize.
No, it's garbage.
Of course it's garbage. Yeah. Absolutely. You've got to have winners, you've got to have losers. You have to lose to know how to win.
It's true, and the natural state of man is a competitive state of man. Men have always been competing with each other. Even now, right now, we compete with each other. I don't buy Ferraris to drive fast. I do sometimes, but if I'm in London traffic, it's not to go quick. No. It's to show everyone else I'm richer than them. That's what it is. It's a never-ending competition. I don't wear a big diamond Patek with fucking $500,000 to tell the time. I tell the time on my phone. I do it because I'm loaded. Life as a man is shit. It's always been shit. It's never been good. When men wake up and say, I'm depressed and life is hard and I'm sad and I'm struggling right now, I say, okay, throughout history, men have always struggled. Happiness is for children and women. Name a time in history it was better to be a man. Was it better to be a man in World War II? Was it better to be a man on the Titanic? Was it better to be a man in the Napoleonic Wars? Was it better to be a man when you were sitting in Vienna and the Mongol horde arrived, ready to decapitate any male and enslave all the females? When's it ever been good to be a man? Building the pyramids, was that fun? It's always sucked. The only time being a man ever is good is if you become an exceptional man, which is even something feminists admit. Because feminists sit and complain about men and say, well, men have this, men have that. But they're talking about 2% of men.
Fascinating.
They don't talk about all men. If you're a man in the middle and you don't have the light yet, often you'll find the light by jumping into the dark.
Yep.
What does Newton say? They're equal and opposite force. The deeper you go, if we imagine, let's imagine the yin and the yang. Let's imagine there's a line in the middle and you have the light and you have the dark underneath it. If you're standing in the middle, the deeper you'll dive into the dark. It's like coiling a spring. The higher you'll bounce back into the light.
This is what's happening right now.
Exactly. And this is also why I became successful in the first place, because I've always been capable of fighting and going through pain and dedicating myself and doing difficult things and having hard things happen to me and being emotionally regulated. So perhaps what's so interesting about it is, even if I want the dark, no matter how deep I dive into it, no matter how much mess I try and get myself in, I'm just going to end up springing back and having more fans and more followers and more people talking about me and more social media.
Bro,
and
it's
more money. You can't make excuses ever.
Yeah.
There's never an excuse. And you're right. People try and put things on the outwards on the outside. It's interesting. I remember watching Forrest Gump about 5 years ago. I was on a plane. I can't remember where I was flying. And the beginning of Forrest Gump has a scene in it, which I don't think many people actually have ever analyzed or anticipated or understood what the scene means. But when he's sitting on the bench at the beginning, think about Forrest Gump. He's sitting on the bench at the beginning and there's a feather blowing.
Nailed this shit.
Yeah.
And then it lands on him and the movie begins.
Yeah.
What they're saying with that is Forrest is the feather and life has just pushed him all over and put him in all these unusual scenarios. Life has directed him everywhere. Yeah. That's what it's saying.
Sure.
And if you're going to be the guy and you're going to allow life to happen to you and you're not going to happen to life, then you're at mercy of the wind. Perhaps it might work out okay, but it might not, right? So you have to be the guy who goes, okay, the wind's blowing in this direction. Fuck them. I'm doing this. You have to come to life. You can't let life come to you, because if you let life come to you, then you're going to be living inside of a matrix and a system which is designed not for you to live your best life. 99% of what men do is for status. We want to be in good shape for status. We want the fast car for status. We want the nice house for status. We want the diamond watch. We want the hot girl. This is all for our status. Look at me. I'm the big dog. This is how we compete with each other. If you're going to be a dude who pretends that's not true, or be a dude who doesn't want to compete, your life's going to fucking suck. That's the reality.
Do you feel like sport drilled this mentality into you? Because I used to be a competitive swimmer. I was always competing, trying to be the best, and my dad used to compete with radio-controlled models.
Yeah.
How about you?
Well, that's it. What is sport? Sport is just watered-down versions of war.
Yeah.
This is what men have always done.
Friendly war.
Completely. We've evolved to be in battle with each other to some regard. And
they wonder why fans get so emotional as well, because they're also at war with the other fans, aren't they?
Completely.
You know, and that's going to kick off at some point.
Exactly. And you look at the entire planet throughout history, there are ideas which are universal. These are not ideas that could have possibly spread or shared because of the distances involved. It was a universal idea for the Mongols and the Chinese to fight each other, and the Aztecs and whoever else to fight each other, and the tribes in Africa to fight each other. The Europeans, the French, and the English were fighting each other. Humans have always done this. It's just like, no, I'm the boss. No, I'm the boss. So, okay, then let's find out who's the boss. And now we live in a world where I think that status is the new form of combat, and the true expression of testosterone is showing you can move the world with money.
Do you have something to prove? I think everybody on the planet has something to prove. If you walk through life and feel like you have nothing to prove, then you're a fucking loser. If you wake up each day and go, I don't owe anybody anything, I don't have to prove anything to anybody, then you are a loser, because you are absolutely not incorrect. You must prove yourself to other people. You must prove yourself to your bloodline, as we just discussed. You must prove yourself to God. God hates the lazy. He can't stand them. If he gives you all these genetic dispositions and these natural God-given gifts, if you have 2 arms and 2 legs and you can think, and you're not trying your absolute best, that's the reason you're not lucky. He doesn't like you. He likes the people which show him the beauty of his own creation. He likes to give somebody building blocks and them to build something amazing. It's the best thing about being a man. You get to build who you are, right? You can decide if you want to be a funny comedian or a musician or a kickboxing world champion or fight the Matrix. You can decide whatever you want to be. I was a 4-time kickboxing world champion. For 12 years, I trained 5 hours a day, 6 days a week. And I was motivated to train probably about 25% of the time. The rest of the time I went because I am disciplined. Just like you're talking about your ultra marathon. You don't feel like going through that shit on a Wednesday morning when you wake up, but you have to do it because you're disciplined. You're either a disciplined individual or you are not a disciplined individual. To sit there and say, and I'm going to tell you the truth, Ramsey, a shit spiral, what does that mean? You go on Pornhub or you start clicking on cat videos on YouTube. Like, if you really wanted money, you would not do that. The number one thing people don't have control of in their lives is their mind. But what's funny about that is, the only thing in life you can truly control is your mind. You can't control other people. You can't control the weather. You can't even control your health. Your heart might stop beating. You don't make it beat. It just goes. So it's going to turn off one day. The only thing you can control in your life is what you think in your mind. So if you're going to sit there and go, oh, I'm sad, well, you can change that if you actually try, but you don't. You just accept it, right? So people have lost control of their own minds. And I don't understand why you would allow your own mind to take power from you. Why would you let your own mind convince you you're not a lucky person, or I'm not this, or I'm not confident? Why would you let your own mind sabotage you? Why wouldn't you reprogram your own mind to be on your team? It should be your ally, right? My mind is my ally. You can dump me in a bikini in the fucking Arctic Circle to die. 2 days later, I'm coming to your house, knocking on the door with 3 girlfriends in a Cadillac. I'm not going to sit there and go, shit, I'm going to die. I'm going to be like, okay, Andrew, you're the man. I don't know what the fuck we're going to do, but you're going to pull this off. You have to be good enough on your worst day to beat your opponent on his best day. On the day he feels motivated and gets out of bed and wants to fight and he's raring to go and he's on the top of his game, and you feel the absolute opposite. You want to lay in bed, you don't want to move, you don't want to go anywhere, but you have to get up and have to fight this man. You have to be good enough to beat him anyway. You have to be that good. Life often gives you chances and you get one shot. You don't get to replay them, you don't get to rerun them. Even the ones that you do get to rerun, you do get to replay. I guarantee if you pulled it off first time every time, your life would be completely different than if you pulled it off on the second time every time. It'd be a different trajectory. There'd be no failure in the mix. The air wouldn't be stained with the stench of your inadequacy. You must be that good, that no matter what happens in life, even when the Matrix attacks you, even when you get curveballed, you can put on a nice suit, you can pull out some money from somewhere, put on a diamond watch, and pull it off. You have to be that guy. And the way you're going to do that is by training. You have to practice. And you have to be held accountable amongst other men who are extremely capable in all realms. You can't be hanging around with losers because losers will allow you to lose. You need to be hanging around with winners because winners will not allow you to lose. We hate losers. We don't even like them around us. They stain our air. Train harder. When I get a message from whoever and he goes, my wife left me, I'm devastated. I say, I understand. I completely understand how hard it can be to lose a woman that you've given your entire life to. And you've done so many nice things. And then because of one thing you did, her innate and absolutely insane level of ungratefulness has turned her bitter, and she now talks to you like she hates you over one thing you've done after thousands of efforts showing how dedicated you are to her. And even now that you're prepared to die for her, she doesn't give a shit about you. I understand that pain. But my answer is, good. It's still good. Now take all of that pain, and instead of emailing me, do this. And then you're going to become the kind of person that women don't leave. Then you win. If you don't believe in depression, you can't be depressed.
Right.
All you can be is, okay, I feel a bit pissed off. Time to get up and go get it. Let's hit the gym, bang, hit the club. I'm gonna make some things happen in my life. But if you do believe in depression, the second you feel sad, the first thing you do is sit down and go, this isn't my fault I feel this way. I have a disease and nothing's gonna make me better. And you're gonna get worse. So this is the whole point. This is what was amazing when I said depression wasn't real. I said, because I was getting attacked by, all the Avatar Anon characters. I'm depressed, you don't understand, my friend killed himself, blah, blah, blah. I was like, listen, if depression is really so horrible, why are you all defending it so fervently? So it's real, it's so powerful, it's real. Why are you defending this horrible thing? Why don't you sit there and go, you know what, you're right, Andrew, fuck depression. But they want to defend it because it's an identity. It's something that allows them to feign individuality. It's something that allows them to, it's an excuse. It's a ready-made excuse for all of life's failures. I'm a loser, but it's not my fault. But depression. That's all it is. It's a fucking coping mechanism. In certain scenarios, there's absolutely no benefit to doubting yourself. When I was about to get in the cage, even if I knew the guy was a killer, there is no benefit to me thinking I'm going to lose or I might lose. There's no benefit. If I lose, I lose, right? But you have to completely believe you're going to win. That's the only way you're going to do your best. That's right. So I would never believe I'm unlucky. I would never believe anything negative about myself because I refuse to self-sabotage. I have enough people out in the world who want to sabotage me. I'm not going to do it to myself.
You have haters?
Oh, a few. A few. But yeah, no, I'm absolutely an extremely lucky person. And I know I've been lucky in my life. A lot of hard work went in as well. But yeah, there's a degree of luck in everything. Yeah. But I'm an exceptionally lucky person. Of course, I'm an exceptionally lucky person.
And we're sitting here in a mansion in Miami that you rented some.
Yeah, we're in a mansion in Miami, and we're doing the War Room Summit, and we've got like 50 guys here. And
how many masks are here?
How many masks? 0. Yeah. I'm talking with the president of the Manosphere. Life's good, right? Life's good, and I control my mind. My mind doesn't sabotage me. My mind will never say anything negative about me or what I can do or what I've done ever. Depression is not real because that allows me to become more competitive. I don't give a shit what paperwork you pull out your ass and which depressed person or psychologist comes in here and tries to explain to me how depression works. I'm more competitive if I don't believe in it, because then when bad things happen to me, it doesn't cross my mind that I might catch depression. It is not even an idea in my me and Tristan are in jail, everyone's depressed, we're smoking cigarettes and dancing around. We can't be depressed because we don't believe in it. So I'll only adopt ideas that make me hyper competitive. And sometimes that's going to make you very humble. Sometimes it's very competitive to think, shit, I might lose here. Sometimes competitive to be delusional and think you can't lose. If you corner me and there's no way out but to fight and 10 men are going to try and kill me, I'm going to believe I can win. Delusional maybe, but it makes me most competitive. That's why I believe. Fuck you, I've decided. My brain works that way. Which mindset is the most competitive? Which mindset is the most useful to me right now? Which emotion is the most useful to me? I change emotions. We can all change our emotions if we really want to. You could all think yourself sad. You could all think yourself happy. Everyone can do it, but people take too long to do it. You need 10 minutes. Get good at it. Give yourself a few seconds. And then you have to decide which emotion puts me in the most competitive state right now. And you'll often find that happy is not one you choose very often. It's not a competitive emotion to be happy. For 5,000 years, people were dodging saber-toothed tigers and catching the plague and running from Genghis Khan just for my stupid ass to be born. I don't owe them anything. I don't owe them a thing because I want to play video games. These people are fucking losers. You should walk through earth with force inside of you. As I walked into this hotel reception, everybody looked. Not because they know who I am, but because as I move, even if it's behind their head, people feel something and they go. It's an energy that comes from brutal competence. It's almost like an evolutionary thing where a rabbit can just smell a fox. It just knows. That's what happens when a predator walks in a room, even amongst humans. You pay attention next time you're in a restaurant. If a man who's truly dangerous walks in, nearly every other man kind of looks up at the same time. You feel it. You need to or you don't survive. We've evolved with that to live. That's who I am. I couldn't imagine not being that man. There's a difference between want and want. And I say this all the time. People say to me, I want to be rich. And I say, okay, well, I want to be able to ice skate. But I don't want to be able to ice skate enough to go learn how to ice skate because I can't be bothered. I mean, surely if I could click my fingers and be a figure skater, I'd click my fingers. Who wouldn't? But I don't want to actually go train because I don't want it enough. And this is the exact point with money. Everyone wants money put on their lap. If you truly wanted money, you wouldn't be able to sleep until you fucking had it.
Yeah.
And this is the point. So you're saying you go down a shit spiral, then you're not cut out to be rich, my friend. Get a job in Starbucks and piss off. Some people, because when I had nothing, I couldn't be distracted. You couldn't distract me from what I wanted. That's who I am. If I want something, I'm going to get it. So I don't know what more you want me to say. I do not need to be motivated. I'm a disciplined person. If I allocate X amount of time to work, I'm going to do it.
Do you think he's proud of you?
I'm certain he's proud of me. And it's amazing how much strength I can get from that. It's amazing how much strength you can get from knowing that your ancestors are looking down on you and you're doing your absolute best. I also believe that God can be proud of you when you do your absolute best. And I don't think many people genuinely do their best in the world anymore. When I say do your best, people sit and go, oh yeah, okay. No, when's the last time you actually did your best? Like, I don't train to run marathons, but I know if I gave my best, I could run a marathon right now, first try. If I gave my best, life depending on it. When's the last time people have genuinely given their best to anything? There are people going through the world and going through life today that don't give their best or 100% effort to anything ever. Ever. They can't even remember the last time they tried. So when I'm sitting in a dungeon, and I'm sitting in a Romanian jail cell, I understand that it is a chance that God has given me and my ancestors are watching for me to do my absolute best and to show to them that I am the man I say I am. You can't become the most famous man in the world for mental resilience and God not test your mental resilience. I think that would be a very amateur way to view the world, that you can now become one of the most famous men in the world who talks about mental discipline and mental resilience and God's not going to test it. I think God's going to come along and say, okay, you want to be Mr. Famous. All right, let's see what you have. You're not going to be able to compete with the person who performs regardless of how they feel if you only compete when you feel like competing, right? Because there's men like me out there who will be sad every day and outcompete you regardless. I don't care how I feel, I will still win. And that's the kind of mindset you need to adopt. So I don't, when a man comes...
You've got a job to do. Stop whining. Go to work.
Completely.
I agree.
Completely.
Yes.
So when men say, oh, but I feel sad. Who cares? The world doesn't care. All the men who are out here to destroy you and take your girl don't care. So why do you care? Like, the person who should care least is you. You're the only person who wakes up every day who should have a genuine vested interest in improving your life. Nobody else wakes up and wants to improve your life, only you. So if nobody else cares about how you feel, why do you care?
You asked me about the fact that, am I afraid they're going to put a bullet in my head? They're going to put a bullet in all our heads. Do you understand? At least I get to die first. At least they remember my name. If we all have to jump off the cliff, at least I get to go first. Wait, lads. What? Andrew Tate went first. Because we're all going to die. The only way to stay alive as a man now is to not be a man anymore. To be a chick. I'd be afraid because men are little cowards. Oh, don't kill me. No, okay. I refuse. I refuse absolutely. Just shoot me or put me back in jail. It's fine. I refuse. Until the day I'm going to drive my Ferrari around, I'm going to say whatever I want. That's what's going to happen. I don't care anymore. Put me in jail. Put me back in jail. I don't care. I worked out something that's actually very fantastic for everyone at home who's worried about going to jail. To all the men at home, because they're going to come for all of us if you have any kind of opinion or you tell your girlfriend not to sleep with other men, somehow that makes you controlling. If you go to jail, you can still smoke, which means there's nothing the government can really do to you that prevents you from getting cigarettes. So life's fine. My argument also for depression is, you're depressed, fine. Have you trained today? Well, that doesn't change what you should do with your life, depressed or not. And I don't say this because I'm an eternally happy person. I say this because I've experienced all ranges of human emotion. I was in a Romanian jail cell with cockroaches crawling all over me as I slept. I never missed a day of training. I wouldn't say I was particularly happy, but push-ups must be done. So they got done.
You're very close to your brother, correct? And you were locked away for part of that with him. And did you have fun at all with him?
Yes. I do think there's something inside of men, whereas if you're with your boys or you're with your group of men, there's something inside of us.
Totally.
And it allows you to make the absolute best of the worst situations. Maybe that's an evolution from war. You know, all the men went to war and you saw all this pain and suffering and you saw heads, people decapitated and you're injured, but then you sit around the campfire and you're laughing.
You're laughing. That's right.
It's something inside of us. It's like a coping mechanism when you're around men. So when me and him were together, no matter how bad the scenario or no matter what they tried to do to us, part of us would just look at each other like, cigarette? And you find joy in that. And yeah, there's definitely, and that's another thing I think a lot of men are lacking. A lot of men are missing is a masculine support network. I think buddies.
Yeah.
You know, you talk to a guy and say, what was the highlight of your life? What was the best time of your life? And they'll say, college football. It's not about the football. It's about the team. Yeah. You know? And I think a lot of that's destroyed as well. Because also it's interesting how everything interconnects. When you destroy honor and principle and the masculine essence inside of men, well, now as a man, it's very hard to have friends. I wouldn't want to have a male friend who had no principles, no honors, and didn't work hard and was always crying about being sad. What do I want to hang around with him for? He's a loser. I don't think many men especially understand that even if you don't have the strength to be a hero for yourself, you should have enough discipline and enough honor to want to be a hero for somebody else. And if you have other people you truly respect, you should want to be a hero for them. And I think that's the masculine imperative. If someone's going to attack your wife, that's when you become a hero for her. You have to. What kind of man are you if you're not? And you can apply that to other things. If you apply that to your ancestors, or you apply that to God, or you apply that to your beliefs or your core principles as a man, then you can be a hero anytime you want. If I had left jail mentally broken and financially broken, it wouldn't have made me more famous. So, and physically broken, because all those three things could have happened. Please understand, I was in 24-hour-a-day lockdown. My cell was half the size of this room, and I didn't leave. I didn't get a gym. I didn't come out looking all scrawny. I didn't get good nutrition. I didn't get good food. Most people in there had mental health problems. If I would have come out there all skinny and mentally broken, then it would have been game over. So there's also a degree of my competence in all things. But the people who laugh at me going to jail don't understand that there's no light without dark, and I'm an expert, I guess, if you were to say one of my skills is, I'm an expert at being hard on myself, and if life's gonna be hard on me, I'm gonna Aikido that into power. I would believe I'm a stronger version of myself post-jail. And if you put me back, I'll emerge stronger than ever before. Send me to jail. Fine. Send me to jail. Right now. I'll go. I'm not gonna fight. Put me in handcuffs. Send me to jail. The day you let me out, I'll be a stronger version of the day I went in. So what do I have to fear? Because if you truly want an exceptional life, this is one of the mistakes a lot of people make. They want an exceptional life, but they only want the exceptional good because they're cowards. Like, I want a lot of money and fast cars. Cool. You don't want the exceptional stress. You want the exceptional car collection. You don't want the exceptional stress. You want to be me when I'm flying my Bugatti on an A380 and I'm in first class Emirates and my Bugatti's below me and I'm filming it for Tate Confidential. You want that, but you don't want to be me when I'm in a Romanian dungeon. But there is no like, if you want the exceptional good, you're going to have the exceptional bad. That is a law of the universe that can't be broken. That is not human law. That's universal law. So if you're sitting at home saying, I want an exceptional life, then you have to be prepared for both the good and the bad. Everything is hyper competitive, especially the sexual marketplace. Like if you're a 52-year-old, overweight, average income, no fame dude, and you have to find a girl, it's going to be pretty difficult to find a good one. It's going to be very hard. So we're like, well, of course he's lonely. And his kids don't respect him. They're busy. Like, of course he's sad. Like, it's actually heartbreaking to discuss.
It is heartbreaking.
It's heartbreaking. But then how do you prevent that happening? Well, then you need to be a man of honor and principle and make sure that you keep your support networks and make sure that your woman does respect you. And a woman's going to respect you when she sees other men respect you.
Yes.
And they're only going to respect you if you respect yourself. But to respect yourself, you have to be the kind of person who says no. If you're not prepared for the bad, what's going to happen on your ascent to good? As you begin to get anywhere, something will happen, some degree of stress or whatever, and it's going to derail you, and you're never going to get to the highest echelon. So I've always been ready for the bad. I'm totally prepared for the bad. I was made in the dark, molded by it. I'm Bane. Put me in the bad. My whole life's been bad. My whole life's been terrible. I've known nothing but pain. What's really scary is this. I'm 37. I grew up on a council estate. I was broke for most of my life. I made all my money myself. And even I have disdain for the poor. Because I look at them and go, you didn't try at all. I did it. With all of the pain I went through and all the problems I had, while also fighting and becoming a kickboxing world champion, I still managed to do it. You started at a higher bracket than me. You started from a middle income home. Your dad you had food. I didn't have food and I was a world champion. How did you fail so massively? And I look at them and just think of them as, you're an idiot. And if I feel that, imagine how the elites look at us. Imagine you're born into a lineage, a bloodline that's been in charge of the banks forever. Imagine how you view poor people. You think you give a shit whether they live or die? I'm talking about someone who's only been rich for 10 years. And when someone comes and complains to me about being broke, I'm like, oh, you're a dummy. You didn't even try. So imagine you were born filthy rich and your family's always been rich. And you're told about how your family's always controlled everything because you're smarter than everybody else. Imagine how much disdain the elites truly have to the common man.
Most men are walking through life and they don't realize that it's constant competition. I was driving here. Even as I was driving here, I was looking out the window. And I was looking at all these people just walking around. One of them had a fucking croissant. One of them was dressed like a dickhead because it's London. He thinks he fucking looks cool. Looks like a fucking moron.
We've all seen them.
Yeah, moron. Some of the dudes just talking shit on the phone. Some other guy with headphones in, waiting to be fucking murdered, wouldn't even hear it coming. And all these NPCs, I'm just looking at them going, do they realize they're in endless, constant competition?
Every single pound they want, someone else wants. Every single girl they want, someone else wants. There are people like me out here. I will destroy, you could get all 30 of them in a room and I will sit by myself and absolutely annihilate them in any single metric. And they're just sitting there just fucking floundering and wandering through life unaware of how competitive the world is.
Well, and whinging how unfair
and
it is.
whinging how unfair it is. And this is my point. If the world is truly that competitive, you do not have time to be depressed because it's a non-competitive mind state.
The reality of masculinity is controlling your emotions. This is the reality of being a man. They try and say that men should give in and it's okay to cry. I'm not saying you can never cry if something bad doesn't happen to you. I'm saying that the tenets of masculinity since the dawn of time have been, I was afraid, but I did it anyway.
Yeah.
This is the tenets of masculinity.
Courage.
Courage.
Yeah.
That's what courage is.
Yep.
I was afraid to storm the beaches of Normandy, but I did it anyway. I was afraid to stay on the Titanic, but I did it anyway. This is the whole tenets of masculinity. And now they're saying, oh, if you're afraid, just act afraid, be a pussy.
Whenever somebody gives you their opinion on anything, listen to the opinion and then stop and look at who told it to you. Because you never want to adopt the thinking of somebody who you don't want to be. Because their thinking made them. So whatever they believe in their mind is why they are the person they are. So if somebody sits and says to you, you should be more humble, I sit and think, okay, this is how my brain works. He believes I should be more humble. That's how his mind operates. The closer my mind operates to his mind, the more likely I am to be like him. Who is he? And I'll look at the person who said that to me and say, no, thank you. No, sir, I refuse. Being humble, is that how you got to where you are? Is that how you got? No, you keep humble. I'll keep winning. You can give. Because most people who talk about humble, all they really want is to not be reminded of how they have failed. They don't want me to make it clear to them that they have failed.
If you say to yourself, you know what? I'm reading all this shit on Twitter about drop shipping. Will it make money? Will it not? I don't know. But you know what? This weekend, I'm going to start a drop shipping company. If you actually say it, and then you're like, okay, well, I've said it now, so I have to do it. Saturday comes around. Even if you don't want to do it, even if you're not in the mood, whatever. But because you found the motivation to previously say it, and you're not the kind of guy who lies to himself, you're not a coward. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not full of shit. I mean what I said. By the end of play Saturday, you might have a dropshipping company, or you'll at least know more, or you'll at least look into it. You might be making $100 a day. Who knows? It might change your life. So all you have to do is find the motivation to say things. I say to Tristan, yeah, I'm going to go on that train. I'm going to train 5 hours. If I said it, that was it. I had to do it because I couldn't live with myself knowing I was one of them bullshitters.
You can be depressed for X, Y, Z, whatever. I'm not depressed. And I want the money you want, and I want the girl you want, and I want the status you want, and the car you want, and the house you want. And I'm going to get it, and you're fucking not. And that's the bottom line of life.
If you gave that guy that stuff, he probably wouldn't be depressed anyway.
Well, he's get up off his ass and work then, doesn't he? And this is the point.
He probably would, because he wouldn't have a direction in life. I think it's a very empowering message that you share. And, I think if you can fix it with pills, you can probably fix it by going to the gym and doing all of these other aspects.
But pills doesn't even fix it. Pills just numbs it.
Mask.
Yeah, masks it.
Well, it's not a holistic way to treat it, is it? Whereas what you're saying is more so.
Yeah, what I'm saying is you're playing a game, and it's a competitive game, and you need to build a mindset that allows you to be ultra competitive. And if you want to sit there and say, no, I want a non-competitive mindset, then fine. You know what you call people who do not win competitions?
Losers.
Correct.
The brokey days were good days, bro, man. Like, I'd get McDonald's, and you're laughing with your boys.
Yeah.
The brokey days were great, and I'm not complaining about being rich. Obviously, I worked hard for this, and it's a fantastic life I live now. But I think without those brokey days, without those original days to compare it to, without that juxtaposition, then I don't think being rich would be fun at all. I think it's only fun because you can compare it to the days when you weren't rich. That's the only thing that makes it fun. The only thing that makes a $10,000 steak fun is that you can laugh saying how you never had 10 grand in your bank till you were 27 years old.
Yeah.
Like otherwise it's boring. Otherwise okay, steak. And I think if you're born with too much money, that you'll never truly be happy. I think you need the brokey days. They're the best days.
Normalcy now is being psyoped from all angles. I feel like in the 1950s, a normal man was a winner. The normal man went to a normal job and had a normal family in a normal house and a normal car and a normal life. But I feel like the normal person now is two parents working, children being raised by the Matrix in school, being bombarded with propaganda, bills barely paid, depressed, angry, anxious, watching the BBC. I feel like normalcy has been changed from being a winner to being a loser. So now being normal is just losing in a way which is so familiar to the people around you are losing that you don't realize you've lost it all, because everyone's losing. So you're like, oh, I'm just normal. No, you've all lost. You've all lost. None of you are free. You're all lost. And that's even more scary. You can't even be normal anymore. To be a winner, you have to be exceptional. You could be a winner as a normal person only 50, 60 years ago. Now the normal people can't even win because they're grinding down society, that the bracket of normal is going further and further down.
I got people all the time on Twitter tweeting me, yeah, Tate, you're the man, I'm the same. I'm like, you're not. I know that if I were to come up to you and say, all right, we're going to do this now, you'd have some excuse. So like, my words are absolutely sacred, especially to myself. And that's why I'm very careful with what I say, because like I said, if I threaten someone, even if I don't want to do it anymore, I have to do it because I won't lie to myself. I won't betray myself. And that allows you to start thinking a lot more carefully about what you say.
Yes.
Thinking a lot more carefully about what you say, you get a lot more direction and clarification on which direction your life is going. And it's just fulfilling your own word, man. I said I was going to be world champion over and over and over again. I was nervous to lose, not because I was nervous to get knocked out. I was nervous I would look like a liar. I told everyone I was going to win.
Oh shit, yeah.
That's how I was. I was like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to have this. When I picked up my Lambo, the best feeling about picking it up is that I told everyone for years I'm going to have a Lambo. Lambo's my car. I'm going to push a Lambo. When? I guarantee you I'm going to find a way to push a Lambo. I don't lie.
Get the real talk on Patreon. Join us and elevate your mindset.